What's up, y'all? I'm happy to be back here another Saturday for another webinar with you discussing today how to be about your business. And while I've literally been hosting webinars on operating and running your dream small business, I want to open this conversation to anyone who is pursuing something that's important to them, whether it is your dream small business or if it happens to be a fitness goal that you have or to get a new job. It doesn't matter. Like, this conversation really encompasses a skill set that you can use no matter the topic. And so I want to thank you for joining me for this conversation on Shayna Creates. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not already. And then not only that, you want to hit the notification bell because that's going to let you know when I go live with these webinars each Saturday. Okay, so that's going to be a reminder. Of course, if you would like to opt in to know what else I'm working on or how else you could connect with me, those links are going to be in the description down below. So you're just going to go into the description and I'll be happy to share with you. Shout out to StreamYard for hosting this live stream with us today. All right, so let's get right into it, y'all, because I've been having these conversations with people on a regular basis, people specifically who are in entrepreneurship or content creation. And in those conversations, we obviously talk about our obstacles, right? Because content creation, while we understand those of us who are entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs who are trying to wear all hats in all departments of our business, that content creation is important for many reasons, not just because you need to put your big, bright, shining face on the screen. And you don't even have to do that, right? You can choose any platform in which you are going to create content that is specific to your business or what it is that you have to offer the world, right? Whether that's a product, a service, or just a solution, right? Or maybe just conversation. Some people's goals or some entrepreneurs' goals is just to build community and an audience, right? And that could be for content creators too. So we understand that it's really an important part of the business, but that doesn't mean that we always get to the bag, right? Because we also have other things happening around us, right? And those things, other things that's happening around us might take away from our focus and the time that we would put into being about our business. So last week, in regards to this conversation, we also spoke last Saturday about ensuring that we are always operating within our business, right? So we need to be in our business every single week, if not every day, y'all. Like, I get it. We're juggling a lot, but this really comes down to priorities. Like, if you are serious about building a small business, or if you are serious about this goal that you have, if you have a goal and you are serious about it, you need to prioritize it because that's the only way that you will persist through that thing that demonstrates how serious you are about it. So for me, that's these webinars, right? Every Saturday, you are going to find me on your screen on YouTube, as long as you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we are going to be talking about something similar to this conversation around being about your business or content creation, right? And so that is my commitment. I've committed to this for at least a year, and I'm sure it will be more. But notice I said every Saturday. You're going to find content here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, if for any reason it's not live, guess what? You're still going to find a piece of content here. Like, y'all, if I get invited out on a Saturday and it's somewhere in the afternoon, like mid-afternoon, like now, like 4 p.m. or late afternoon for some, whatever you want to call it, guess who can't go if they didn't prepare to have at least a recording on Saturday for you to tune into? Me. I'm not going. And it's not even because I have a large audience and following that's waiting for this video right now as we're recording it, and it will be done by 5 p.m. But it's because I've committed to this thing that's important, that I know that adds value to others, because it added value for me and it has helped me to be successful thus far. And so I wanted to share some details of what has helped me along on my journey of consistency and persistence. But before I do that, I just want to give you one more example. Before I was a business coach, I was a fitness coach. Okay. So a lot of you already know that I am an overall health and wellness and holistic transformation coach. Okay. I believe in transforming not just your body, but your mind, your heart, your spirit, your emotional health, your mental health, so that you can actually experience longevity. Because I believe that when we live happier lives, it leads to a long, happy life, right? Like, who wants to be alive and unhappy? Many people don't, whether, you know, if they're conscious about it or not. Okay. That's not a desirable thing. No one says, I want to be unhappy and live a long life, right? We want to live long, happy lives. So I believe in longevity, that it doesn't just come from physical fitness, but it's important to be mentally healthy, to be spiritually healthy, to be emotionally healthy, right? Anything that is important to you, you want it to be healthy. You want your finances to be healthy too, right? You want to be prosperous. You want to be financially free. You want to have enough, right? You want to be abundant and without limitations. So I believe that you can be healthy in all of the things that you want to be healthy in if you prioritize it. And this is the same thing here. So this is not any different. You would need to prioritize any area of focus. So for me, that was fitness, so much so that even after working a 10-year, at least a 10-year uh, career in retail, in sales, okay, that an exit opportunity led me to actually do something that was important to me. So it's not like I just became a fitness instructor because I believe that it pays well. I believe in health and wellness, right? So I actually became a fitness instructor for myself. And I saw the transformation that happened for me, right? So I got positive results, and so I repeated the results for myself, and then I decided to help others do the same thing. Okay. And that has afforded me great rewards that honest to God, y'all, just unfolded. I didn't even have to do anything extra. And we talk a lot about how challenging it is to run a business. And I don't believe that just because something is a challenge that there cannot be joy in that journey. Like, we have to find joy in this journey. I feel like joy is really important to find along in this journey as well. I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs speak about it. I think the conversation naturally comes to how hard it is because we can relate to hard things. And honestly, it's easier to relate to negative things before it is to be able to exchange positivity. Like, there is joy in this journey. Like, content was challenging. That was my perception of it. But that was enjoyable for me. I love trying to monitor my own time right now, because I said I'll give 60 minutes of my time to this without going over. And I started going over in 2 hours worth of content, which is nowhere near 60 minutes. 90 is not that close to 60. But um, sorry, 120. So I literally have challenged myself to do better, right? Because that's my personal goal. So that is something that I prioritize, is making sure that I have my notes and that there are minimal amount of notes. If I'm going to share slides, that those things are prepared. If it's not, that some way, somehow, this thing is going to get done. And if it goes over, that's okay, right? Because errors are going to happen. We already know that. Challenges are going to come up. The whole journey doesn't have to be challenging. Challenges come up and we deal with the challenges. And the way that we choose to respond to those challenges is what allows us to find joy or dissatisfaction. Okay. So there could be joy in the journey. So I've found joy in my fitness journey, and I've just literally had the opportunity to watch and let it unfold for me. And I'm continuing to do that even now. Okay. So there are only two really valuable things that has gotten me into these spaces, to now being able to create consistent content, to being a solopreneur in the early growth stages of my business and other businesses as well, which that I'll say, if you could focus on one, do that. Multiple is not a good idea. Okay. And then yeah, there's literally just one concept. There's one concept and two things that has helped me in persisting through building my own builders, becoming a content creator and a content coach, as well as a fitness coach and all the other coaching and consulting that I do. Again, check those descriptions down in the link if you want to connect. Now, the one thing that you need to understand is this concept. So if you have a pen and a paper, or get ready to listen, if my voice and inflections went monotone for a while, I'm not being animated enough for you. Okay. This is educational content. I need you to listen up. The one concept I need you to understand is that you have to, after you create your goal, that means you get an idea and you say, bing, this is something that will feels good. It'll be nice to happen. This idea feels really good. I want to move forward with this thing. Is that you build connections. You build connections. When you have a really good idea about something for yourself, if you want that idea to become alive, you need to build. And what does building look like, right? Because you could think of an idea of being like a mustard seed, right? You could drop the seed into the soil, but there's still work to be done after that, right? So if you're being intentional about planting and growing and harvesting something, you're going to be intentional after that seed is planted to do what? Okay. Water at minimum, right? You're going to water your seeds, right? Maybe you need to fertilize that ground. Well, you will do that before that, right? Or after, I don't know. That ground, that soil might need to be fertilized. You might need to build some sort of protection around it, right? So you want to make sure that it has adequate sunlight, right? So there's actions to take place to make sure that this seed has the best chances of growing, and your business is the same way. And so if you can think about each one of the actions that makes a seed grow successfully and turn into this beautiful flower, this plant, this tree, then I want you to think of each one of those aspects being the connection to making that happen: the sunlight, the water, the protection, the cultivation, all of the things that takes place, the actions. You have to do that for your business too. And I think for the most part, y'all know that. I think you're like, well, if I think about what it takes to run a business, yeah, I could think of all of the connections that is going to take, right? Like in operations and marketing and sales and hosting events and planning for the events and networking and content creation, right? There's a lot. Yeah, Shay, there are a lot of actions that takes place in running a business, and that's perfectly fine. But the conversations that was referring to with other solopreneurs and entrepreneurs that I was having earlier last week was in regards to how to actually make these connections, because it's easy to just get overwhelmed by the process after you have this great idea that feels really good, like starting your dream small business or losing 10 pounds or going to Italy, right? there's actions that need to take place to bring that thing to life, right? And we know that, but then the process, we might start to experience some challenges, and those challenges will deter us from taking action. And guess what? When you're choosing to run a small business, it's easy to just not, right? And typically, small businesses will fail not only because of not having uh, adequate funding, but also taking adequate action. And I think in the very beginning stages, what has been very helpful for me was these two things to keeping me connected to my business, right? We're talking about connection. And in order to build connections that will help your business to thrive, you have to connect to something, because you might be the source of your business, but I promise y'all, we don't do anything alone. And anytime someone says that, it's clearly false. Like, I can't even say that I got this on my own, right? This is the bag of trail mix. I can't even say I got this bag of trail mix on my own. Sure, I went grocery shopping for it for myself, right? Which I did not. This was a gift, by the way. But I buy trail mix. So let's say I did. So this thing, I still didn't get it on my own. I had to go through a checkout process, and I had to interact with someone, the cashier at Trader Joe's, to get this bag of trail mix, right? And let's just say, which I do not do, let's say I took it, right? Someone still had to actually even bag the trail mix for me to even do that. Like, someone had to build the store, the brick and mortar, for me to actually even do that, right? Like, we don't do anything on our own. And so that leads me to my two tips on if you are struggling to create and publish content which helps to build your personal brand to your business, which helps to market and advertise your offerings, right? Your products, your services, your solutions, that helps to organically build a following and an audience so that you don't have to go through this process of cold calling, which we had to do not so long ago, which we still do. That's still a viable form of advertising. You can definitely pick up a phone and call people still. But understand that that was the main way at one point. And now they made it so easy. Technology made it so easy for us to just turn on the camera that's on all of our devices at this point. It's very rare if it's not, right? And to just lend your voice, if not anything else. And here are the two things that has helped me. They both start with a C. I'll start with one because I mentioned one already. That is community. Community. You need to plug in and connect with a community, a group of people who have like goals. Oh my gosh, this has made so many things for me so much easier. Okay, when it came to building my business. So for me, for fitness, for example, right? I didn't just uh like grab a personal training certification, right? I did, but I didn't go through that process first and then just started off solo, which some people do, and that's perfectly fine. It's not about that. But what I chose to do, which has helped me to persist and be consistent, okay, towards my goal, was I joined a kickboxing studio as a member for General Fitness, realized that there was a lot of joy for me there. And decided that maybe I should actually work here then. Okay, that's how my mind started to make a connection to joy when I talk about finding joy in the journey. So I decided to become a kickboxing coach at I Love Kickboxing. And so I did that right before the pandemic. The pandemic booted us all out of that studio. And so that led me to personal training. because then remote work became available, widely available, and widely sought out. Like that was easy business, and you could do it from home. So not only did I go for my personal trainer certification, but then I also started to make connections. So I stayed connected with my group of other kickboxing instructors at I Love Kickboxing. And guess what? They'd all decided to go for their personal training certifications too. So guess what? We studied together. So guess what? We scheduled to take our test at the same time. So guess what? We met up and had a meeting about who passed and who didn't, or who didn't take the test, right? Who didn't make it. So I say all that to say, like, not even so. Yeah, I made the decision to join. I love kickboxing as an instructor, as a group instructor, but then the pandemic kicked us out, and then I chose to stay a part of community. I still made connections with the other instructors there, and we were like-minded in getting our certification for personal training so that we can continue and actually start our own business. Actually, start our own business in that moment. Okay. Because then we had to still do all of the cold reach outs, right? And attract our own leads and facilitate the actual workout sessions. And the first connections that I made to being successful, my success being someone else's success. Like, hey, Shay, I want to lose 20 pounds in under a year. And me actually being able to help them do that is a testimony, a success story that I can now share with other leads and with other instructors and show them how they can do the same thing for their business. And I could continue to take on personal training sessions if I choose to, right? So, like, by the way, still an amazing group of people that is easy to connect with, right? But then that afforded me to connect with other groups further. Okay. So that's, I ended up working in the gym, right? So I'm a fitness instructor now. Most of y'all know that too. Lucille Roberts in Queens, New York. Shout out All Women's Gym in New York. Barely anywhere in this country. Okay. It's an absolutely amazing gym, which is a part of the story that I'm telling you that unfolded for me so wonderfully that I literally didn't even have to work for. But this is why. It's just because I kept looking at who was like-minded and staying there. There is something about doing something that is important to you with others. Yes, there are some things that you need to do alone or can do alone, but for the majority of your goals, if you jump into community, it'll happen a lot faster and you'll get a lot further. So that's why I say that we go faster and further together. I just realized I should put that on a shirt. Hold up, y'all. I gotta make a note. Because I do merch too. Okay. Faster and further together. I say it all the time. So yeah, I need to go on there. We go faster and further together, y'all. Don't just try to go fast. You go alone. That's cool. You want to go far, you go with people. But you want to be selective about these people. Okay. I found out something very interesting about what tribes would do when certain members of the tribe couldn't keep up. So this, and I say that to say, it's really important to keep up and to be with those who are who are also keeping up. Like, this is not about, as we talk about building community, is really important to be selective, knowing when to say yes and knowing when to say no. That comes to sales too, right? We're not desperate for sales, right? So we're not even just doing content for sales. Like, content is one of the connection points in your business. And when you do that in community, it is helpful. So actually I'll leave this to talk about as my third point, because I want to talk about how to do this. Okay, so community is one thing, because I feel like the conversation would be well, how do you find community, right? Like, yeah, you got into your community through the profession that you were working in. Fair, right? So there are limitless ways of how you can find community for anything that you want to do. There's there's no barriers to finding community. And guess what? If you so happen to be the only person that's in your town or in your vicinity that's interested in something, like you probably really do have a bright idea, guess what? You build community, right? You build it. You start the community. How do you start a community? I already talked about one way, and I talk about it every single week with y'all on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every webinar. Content is a way of building community as well. Other than that, you take yourself outside to events. I talked about going to as many business events as you can. You go to eventbrite.com, you put in your city, town, state, all that good stuff, and you type in business events, small business events, or content creating events. Like, you can put in whatever it is that your goal is, fitness groups, free, paid, all of that good stuff, and you'll find something in your town. So, there's no barriers to finding community, and there's certainly no barriers in creating a community either. All right. So, here's my next C. Okay, so remember, I told you there's only two that I want to highlight today, that has been very helpful for me to be persistent and consistent in my businesses. Okay, so community is one. The next is coaching. So you might be a coach or consultant just like myself. I need you to also get a coach, right? So we want people around us who's going to hold us accountable, and community does that as well, and that's how these two tie together. So a coach, a mentor at minimum. And here's another piece that I want to tie in, because again, it's like, yeah, but when I think about coach or mentor, I would have to pay for that, right? Like, I'd have to hire a coach. Yeah, you can absolutely hire a coach. You could possibly find a coach that's within your budget. So don't make any assumptions that you can't afford one before you actually do your research. Do your research. If you prefer in real life coaching, you can absolutely hire a coach. But here's two really, really cool ways to find coaching if it's not in real life. So, one is going to be that you adopt a virtual coach. So, there's two parts to this. So, your virtual coach can actually be a content creator themselves on YouTube. And okay, I want to emphasize that um, not everyone looks at themselves as a content creator, but if there's content creation on any platform, you're a content creator. So you can go to YouTube and literally find your virtual coach, right? So I have definitely seen transformative results, physical fitness. Okay. I have physically seen transformative results from following Bully Juice on YouTube, along with, I believe, what's her name again? Jennifer Cunnings. I didn't want to mess up her name. It's either Cunnings or Cunningham. And for a really long while, since we were stuck at home during the pandemic, there was a fusion of those two and some content and my workouts. And I got to find a way to put up some results. Maybe I'll turn it into a short later. I have I have had transformative results from these amazing pieces of content, which is evergreen. They're still there. You can go and look at it too. And didn't have to pay a cent for it. So, virtual coaches, YouTube University. There is going to be someone who is going to be able to provide you with valuable content and multiple, who's also consistent and has persisted through this process. So you're able to digest just enough information that you can handle in the moment. Okay. And that's really important when we're talking about entrepreneurship, especially in the early growth stages where you're wearing multiple hats. Like I constantly talk about content creation for solopreneurs, starting with shorts and not doing long form unless you already have long form to edit and publish, or to just publish and get feedback on. I recommend now that you start with shorts if you don't have any content at all and we're new to this and you don't have ample time to dedicate to editing your content, your long form, because it takes time. That's why many entrepreneurs reinvest their dollars back into hiring people for real. Like you don't have to pay a lot for an editor, actually. Fiverr is also a really great platform to do editing. I edit as well, but I just don't. Yeah. I prefer not to because I have to edit my own content already. So you can hire someone and you don't have to pay a lot to do that either. But if it's not within your budget, it's not within your budget. So at the same time, you can absolutely edit a short with CapCut or Viva Video, not sponsored by any of those, but know that they are both free. They have free versions and that they get the job done. I created a short last night at 10:50, and it took me approximately 20 minutes to publish it, but that's because I actually went back and edited it, which you don't have to. You can literally write your hook, go over your 3 statements, right? Your 3 bullet points of why you're talking about what you're speaking about, right? As it pertains to your business. So maybe it's who you are, right? Who you are, what problem are you solving, and how they can find out more about it, right? Do you have a long form video attached to your short? Is there a link inside of your description for people to click on? It should be one of those two. So yeah, I was able to create a short last night. I'm actually trying to go to it to see what the views are on it. In 20 minutes. And it doesn't even have to take that. I was doing the most, to be honest. So that is why I encourage shorts, because it doesn't, I mean, you can do a lot of things in 20 minutes. And we talked about prioritizing parts of our business. And I'm going to continue to emphasize that content needs to be a part of it. Like there's no should, it needs to be. So whether you start today or not, again, I'm just planting the mustard seeds for you, and I'm going to continue to water this every week and wait for this to grow and we could harvest together. That your content provides you feedback for your business, and on the flip side, it also helps you to build an organic audience to build trust with. And then because they pay you attention, they actually pay you with dollars in return. That's how it works. So, um, okay. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked here. Let's see if I could see what the short is. Okay, so over 70 views. Okay, that's great. I have shorts that have absolutely no views. And I have to go back and repost it. So I get to look at the likes and the comments later. Last week, I posed a challenge. Well, 2 weeks ago, I posed a challenge to create content every day for 7 days and was semi successful. I say semi because I didn't do it every day like I wanted to. But I did post 7 pieces of content. Actually, I posted more. So maybe that was a good thing that happened. Oh, what's up, Marty? Oh, I'm so glad you joined. So happy to see you in the studio. Let's see. Yes, you need to get back on it because let me tell you about the ASMR business. I'm just saying, we can link and we could talk more about the type of content that you can offer. But candles, woo, candles do a lot for people. So you can offer therapy, you can show people how to's, or you could talk more, you could record your events here. You know, it's a whole bunch of things that you could do. But nonetheless, y'all, shorts. Okay, we have to get it done. We gotta prioritize it. So sorry, sidetracked. Coach, you need a coach, y'all. Y'all need a coach. Okay, you need a coach. If it's a virtual coach, you're gonna find them on YouTube University, and you gotta tap in. So one thing that I do with this, y'all, is that I tap in. I tap in every day. I'm obsessed with everything that I'm doing because that's why I prioritize this because I love it. Um, so it's more about like the content you're consuming, right? So some people stream Netflix every night. I stream self-development content every day. Now, that might not be you, but like I said, if you're not going to do something every day, which you should be working in your business every day. So sometimes like watching content about some part of your business, you know, is you working in your business. Like if you're not doing that every day, you need to be doing it. You need to be doing that frequently. Like it needs to be consistent. You have to persist through this process. And so it's important. If not, you should intentionally be watching at least an hour long form content weekly. At least an hour. So whether you want to divide that up into 3 pieces of 20-minute content pieces, or if you want to find contents and an hour long piece of content that's just on content creation. By the way, I have an amazing playlist and source for that as a part of my membership. You'll have access to my playlist that has helped me to be consistent in content creation and get to this point. All right. So, yeah, you need to stream content. Like you have to also make sure that you're doing some self-development, and you get to do that, y'all. You have a virtual coach through your YouTube University that's absolutely free. On the flip side, I'm going to give you one more virtual coach, which you got to get on. If you are not playing with your AI tools, I need you to. So the most basic tool, writing tool specifically, right? So when we say AI, I'm going to be very specific here. I'm an AI enthusiast. So that, again, you want to connect. We could talk about that as well. Jump on a discovery call if you're looking to implement AI in your business. But so writing AI tool like a chat GPT. Do you know that you could hire your chat GPT to be your workflow assistant, to be your project manager? If it's not chat GPT, some other great platforms are going to be Gemini, it's going to be Claude. There's a lot of amazing Perplexity. There's a lot of amazing AI writing tools, and they actually have specificities. So like you might want to use one for something in particular, like Perplexity, for example, instead of ChatGPT. If you use perplexity.ai, it's great for research. So remember, I told you to do your research. If you're doing your research, that is one great tool that has the same capabilities or similar capabilities as a ChatGPT, but that is designed to get the most accurate information with regards to updated information for research. ChatGPT is a little bit further behind in its information. I don't know if that's still the case right now because they just released a new version, ChatGPT 5, at the top of the summer. But nonetheless, um, I just want to give you a shout out real quick, okay? Because yes, please get back on it. Content is 100% helpful. I love that you're in the studio. Please, y'all want to join the studio, you gotta let me know so I can send you the link through. I need your email, so you got to hit the link in the description so that I could do that if you're on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Okay, so next you have either an in real life coach that you're gonna hire. Okay, you have 2 types of virtual coaches, and I'm pretty sure there's more. There's just 2 that I talked about today. And that's either going to be someone that you follow consistently that consistently creates content or constantly creates content. So on YouTube, for me, I'm a Myron Golden fan. I love me Myron Golden down. Okay. I'm literally an affiliate in his business because his book is absolutely amazing. Boss Moves book talks a lot about the early growth stages of a business, but forward thinking, so that you're thinking with your future mind of your business and not just this early growth stage. Like you cannot get caught up any longer in all of the things that you have to do. Like on average, successful, and not just successful, but like multi-millionaires will say, like, not just average success, right? Because honestly, if I was making $7 million a year, which is still just seven figures, I'd be straight right now, right? I'd be comfortable, meaning, right? Like I'd feel really good about myself while I continue to earn more. But I mean, wildly successful, like multi-millionaires, right? Would say that on average it takes 10 years to really see and reap the harvest and the benefits of your business. 10 years. And when we are not active in the business, though, we're not going to see the benefits in the 10 years. And here's something that Myron Golden said that stuck with me in one of his pieces of content, which became successful after he hired someone, a content coach or team, who not only started to produce content for him, but also diversified his income streams to his business because of the content that he produced. Okay, for 10 years, he didn't have uh, his YouTube partnership, paid partnership on. He left money on the table for 10 years without hiring someone. And Myron Golden says, who's also a 10-year success, that 10 years is going to pass anyway. So if we get caught up in the nuances of how hard something is or how challenging it is to add in this really important piece that is your branding, your business branding, or if you're watching this because you want to be a successful content creator, specifically your personal brand. Either way, creating content is literally leasing a building on a block. Okay? It's literally leasing a building on a block. Like you need omnipresence. So it's your brick and mortar. And there's a lot to do in the business, and that's okay. While content is a really important piece, and I urge you as an entrepreneur to specifically create content for YouTube specifically. I'm talking about YouTube. Now, I've said this before that I have been coached that you should or you can operate on any social media platform that you are most active on. I'm actually most active on Instagram, but my focus is not on Instagram, is on YouTube for several reasons. But the main reason is because I don't know that platform as well as I know YouTube. So I'm just gonna go all in on YouTube. And YouTube is literally the first space to do it. And it has everything that I need there. And it has such a broad and organic outreach. And has all the same capabilities of any other platform. And I'm just saying, it's literally called YouTube University, y'all. People educate themselves. They go to school. They entertain themselves. They do all of these things on this platform. When I am talking to prospects or clients, at times when I ask them if they have an Instagram, a majority of them will say no, that they're not active on Instagram, but they have YouTube as an app already on their phone, right? So just saying, y'all, easy access. Content creation is important, but you can find yourself getting stuck that you feel like you cannot take 20 minutes out of your week to create a short. You are missing these two components that I talked to you about today. What the hell? You're missing a coach, and or you're missing community. There is no way that I can show up to an in real life coach on a weekly basis, right? If we have a touch base on a weekly basis, which that would be my expectation if I was to hire a coach, anyways, that we were talking consistently. Because if I was already having trouble producing something weekly, I need to talk to someone weekly. And so I would have the expectation that my coach will be like, "So where's your short?" If I hired a creation coach, right? And so that means that I would have to do it, or else I have to face the consequences of not doing it. And we're just more likely to do something when we have accountability. So we need a partner, and that's okay. Hiring someone is great. I'm an accountability coach, by the way, specifically in content creation. If you need help creating a content strategy, you want to hit the link in the description or email me. Okay, all those things will be found in the description down below. So you're missing a coach. And if you're actually utilizing ChatGPT as much as many people are starting to, because this is actually becoming more widely adopted, right? I said, "Hey Siri," and went to ask it a question yesterday, and the question that I asked it, it asked for permission to use ChatGPT to solve it, to answer the question. Okay, this is about to be. It's not about to be Google, y'all. Y'all can still use Google if you want to, but I'm just saying, like, get into your AI writing tools. ChatGPT is widely known because it was the first open source. It's not the only though. Okay, so find out which writing tool is for you and make it a priority to use it, because when you tap in to your workflow, like I do every day to see what's next, what I have to do on my business, content creation is there specifically for this webinar. If I don't get to anything else, y'all, on this handle, y'all gonna see a webinar every Saturday. Like there's gonna be content for you every Saturday if you don't see anything else. My second handle, built by community, my fitness channel that I'm revamping, that I did the challenge on last week, that one, no matter what, there's going to be a short there, at least one short a week, because I already know that I am doing the most. But that doesn't mean that I can't find joy in this journey. I don't want to reach burnout, especially doing the things that are important to me and that I love. And while I still am finessing, you know, these parts of my business the way that I need to, working in my business, being a solopreneur, and the way that you being in your business, is that I am following my framework no matter what. And inside of the Dream Small Business Framework, the very first conversation we had when I started these webinars is that when you look at your framework, there are 4 corners. I'm sorry I don't have a slide for this because I should. So you need offers, right? Okay. Your offers is what you sell to people. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. Okay. You can't have a sustainable free financial freedom if you're not constantly making an offer. And that, again, that doesn't mean that you actually need to make the offer, right? You could have offers automated. You could have your money automated. You could make money overnight, right? But you still have to make the initial offer. So you need an offer, right? Then you need people to talk to the offer about and to sell it to. So those are your leads. You need leads next. And then in the third corner of your framework, you need content. Can't stress that enough. Content is a part of your framework. So it's a priority. The same way your offer is, the same way having people to make the offers to, content is also just as important to prioritize. And the fourth corner of your framework is systems, right? When I talk about AI, we're talking about automation. We're talking about building funnels, right? So that you have your email sequences set up, so that you have your storefront set up, so that you have your on-demand shop set up, like you have all of the things that you need to be set up so that you can go through a seamless journey and transaction the same way you do at the grocery store, that your customers are having the same experience. But you know what adds the value and for free? Not free for you, free for your customers, your leads, and your audience. It's the content. Your grocery store don't got content. But anyway, yeah, content's important. So I produce contents not only for YouTube, I do it for my Instagram handles as well. I have two handles there and one falls behind because that's doing the most, right? I do think that it's more important to go all in one space and then to create niche focus groups. Like the handle that I post the most on is my fitness handle on Instagram, which is also built by community. And that is because my internal following, so there's some customer retention in there, or there are some and then there's some customers. There's some customer ascension, there's some customer retention, and then my leads are there as well. Like they're all in that group. So when I hosted my Bingo Body Challenge at the top of the summer in June, I didn't post as much about it on YouTube as I did on no, I'm lying. I did it in shorts though. So I did post about it on YouTube as shorts, but I actually had the most signups through Instagram, is what I was trying to say. Okay, I had the most signups through Instagram, and most of them were internal. So that's where I've created my internal group. I already did a webinar as well on for us as entrepreneurs. Building community is important. So taking your leads off of the initial platforms from where you met them. So that could be on YouTube, but then that could also be in real life at an event, and that you put them into a niche community group. So for me, while I'm a fitness instructor and I generally have a fitness group and population around me, I have a mindfulness group, right? So we focus on mental state and mental health, right? Inside of that group majorly. And then for my Instagram handle, for example, a lot of my physical fitness community is there. Okay. So I hopefully I will leave the I'm like with my eyes. I'll leave the end card, the video for that webinar here once this one is done. But yeah, so it's important for us to build community, but it's just as important for us to immerse ourselves into community. Wherever you struggle and have challenges, that is the indication that you need to join forces with someone else. There's nothing to figure out by yourself. You partner with people, people provide you the solution that you're looking for. And I gave you free ways of doing that. I gave you paid ways of doing that. Just know that you either need to pay or you need to do your research and find the best answers and solutions as possible through another outlet. But no matter what, you need community and you need a coach. So you want to stay a part of this community, I need your email address. You already know. You need a coach. The link's down in the description. Either way, everything that you need is down in the description, y'all. I hope that I provided you with some valuable insight. Oh, I also wanted to give a shout out to Disruptor DAO, who is allowing me to utilize this platform, StreamYard. Disruptor DAO is an organization that I volunteer with and work with, and actually helping them as well in their marketing and advertisement through content creation and a wide variety of other things. I mean, it's so nuanced. Disruptor DAO is focused on disrupting the wealth gap in our communities. um, it's really it is the brightest mission that I can be on with this amazing group of women that has also been the community to continue to motivate me to work towards my business. Okay, so at times when I wasn't even thinking about my business and I wasn't active in it, I would go to a meeting because we meet every single week. So remember, I told you, you need to be active in your business. So when I would go to a meeting, they would mention my business. They talk about it. And it would just set off that alarm again, like, oh yeah, like I already started to build this community, and you don't want to let all of the nuances about the business bog you down so much that even the ideation is a part of the journey and is a part of everything that's coming together. And so I want you to persist through your challenges the same way you would in a gym, right? So as a fitness instructor, when I work out, we impose challenges on ourselves with intention, intently. We intently impose challenges on ourselves. But when we have unexpected challenges, we want to shy away from it. Don't shy away from it. Be in community. Talk to your community about what you're going through, because they're the perfect people to help you, right? If you're already in that kind of community. And then make sure that you are listening to a coach, okay? And that when you need to speak to one, that you're hiring one, even if it's a one-time thing. Like I have drop-in sessions. You can find a coach to speak to if there is a block in your business right now that you cannot get over. Speak to a professional, speak to an expert, speak to someone who's already doing the thing, like creating content. Speak to someone who's already creating content if you need help with a challenge of not creating content. If that's a barrier for you, partner with someone who's in the same field and but does not have that barrier, and better yet, who has gotten over the same barrier that you're going to get over as well. And with that, my friends, got 4 minutes left. Mm, mm, mm. So I'm gonna do my victory dance. 3 minutes. It's like I told you, been working on my timing and getting better and better. That's literally all I have for y'all today, is to stay connected. Please stay connected with me by subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Turn on your notification bell, because that is going to be your reminder to tune into these webinars every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll catch y'all on the next one next week. Peace.